GSL Codas. We're about to go into the losers match. Stats is our first survivor. And in our final match, Byun is waiting for one of these two players to advance.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be DRGLing going up against Ryung. I mean, DRGLing, I thought, put up a pretty okay fight against Byun. I like a lot of his ideas that he was going for. Ryung got to see that already, of course. I don't think he was super concentrating on that at the time, but, you know, you should be a little bit more prepared for DRGLing than Byun was.
I think
doesn't spell well for him.
I think DRGLing also got a little bit of the wiggles, a little bit of the shakes out of his system.
I hope so,
He played his first Codas game. You know what? He did a really good job. He held his own against Byun. Byun ultimately came out with a victory there, but it wasn't like DRGLing got wrecked.
Yeah.
He was not a lamb for the slaughter.
No, both games he did all right. So we'll see how he can do against Ryung. Like, Ryung is very, very strong. So I'm not like holding my breath for him, but he's not as strong as Byun. So that can make a big difference. Sometimes you see like one of the top 3-4 Terrans in the world, and then you see everyone else, and you're like, oh, feels like there maybe is a big difference there, you know?
Well, let's see what happens with these two. I still think Ryung's the favorite. Ryung nearly took out Stats. I mean, he's actually looking to be in great form. If we have a TVT in our final, for our final best of 3, I think that could be really close, man.
Yeah. Ryung has always been like a TVT sniper, really. He's just always had a lot of skill in the matchup. I haven't liked his TVT as much lately, but we'll see what he can do if he makes it through DRGLing.
Map 1 is Overgrowth. It did seem that DRGLing was able... Oh, he was doing well against Byun, but it seemed like he was ready with different strategies, tactics, and he does seem to understand how to set up for a fourth. Just had a hard time holding it, but I mean, that's a tall order against Byun, who basically always trades effectively.
Yeah, he certainly does that great micro. Don't forget how bad that game started, the Banshee killing all of his Ravagers that did nothing.
By the way, quick announcement, guys. We have GSL Codas tomorrow, same time, same place, with Scarlet playing, so don't forget about that. We're going to remind everybody we're moving the schedule around here for this season of the GSL Codas. Anyways, on to the losers match. One of these two players is about to be eliminated. In the bottom left, in the blue, DRGLing. And in the upper right, in the red,
TES Gaming, Ryung.
Okay. Well, get to chill for a little bit. Looks like once again we are going to have this same type of pool and gas before expansion from DRGLing. But it's going to take a little bit before anything happens. What have you been up to for a couple days, Tasteless?
I'm mostly taking care of stuff with my house.
Yeah?
Trying to throw out all my old crap. I'm at that point in time where there's like a box of stuff I'll find in my house where I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
How did I become an American in a tiny apartment in Korea? I don't know, because I've been living here for too long.
Yeah, it's true. People accumulate things over time. I'm always like throwing stuff out and trying to stay on top of it.
It's like I find out I have 2 of those handheld vacuum cleaners.
Oh,
or wait, what do they
funny.
call it? And I'm like, I don't remember buying either of these. I never use these, but they're somewhere in my house, so it's time to get rid of this stuff.
Yeah. Don't want to have too many vacuum cleaners. I mean, you already suck enough as it is.
The sickest burn ever.
Yeah. You may as well go.
Later on a commercial break, I'm like, man, you really burned me back there with all those people watching, man. How could you humiliate me like that? My mom might have been watching, man. You don't know. It's like, yep, little Tasteless. Nothing changed for him. He became an adult. He was still picked on by his peers.
Well, Tasteless because you're a nerd. You like games. I give you a wedgie right here. Look, I don't even like this game. I'm just here for money.
I'm just here to make fun of you and StarCraft, Tasteless. I'm like, oh no. This is like
you and everything you like is dumb.
You put me in a headlock. What's stupid? I'm like, all my favorite things. I wish the bullies would go away in your 30s.
Oh, but they don't.
They don't.
Oh, man.
What do you think the score is going to be for this?
I would go with probably a 2-0 for Ryung, but you know,
I think it might be 2-0, but I'm not sure. The thing is, Ryung actually had such a close game against Stats. I almost feel like we didn't have time to like remark on it that much because we had to go right into that winners match. But I mean, he looked really good.
He did. He did.
I'm wondering if maybe Ryung is just going to roll over DRGLing. We'll have to see.
It's a possibility. He does have Overlord speed on the way. He's just playing a very careful style. He may have named himself after DRG, but he's copying Dark a lot in these games, just overall, like even some of the Ravager usage and stuff.
Well, that's definitely a good player to copy. I feel like Dark has the most strats and builds developed.
Yeah.
Like, he really also gets how to get into late game of Zerg.
Yeah.
A lot of Zergs lately in the last few months have had a hard time actually getting room to breathe in late game.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these Terrans do not let up.
Certainly a lot of these Terrans are very, very strong right now. I say without any question in my mind that Dark is the best Zerg in the world. Although kind of interesting. Oh, my God.
Oh, whoa. That came in at the last second. 6 drones drowned. He might get a few more here if he get the right angle on that one. Nope, does not. Ooh. Does not get that one last shot on.
Still 6 drones. But actually, Scarlett just had an interview on TL, actually a really cool one everyone should read before her match tomorrow, and said
certainly.
That she thought that Biola is actually the best Zerg right now, who definitely has shown really high form. But I like the way that Dark just has everything in his own style and can come back from things I've never seen anyone even come close to coming back from. And the fact that DRGLing is like, it's kind of an interesting place to be in as a player. You name yourself after one of the best pros. Probably when you started playing, DRG was probably the best Zerg in the world. So he's like, well, I want to be like him. I want to be one of his lings. And now, we're seeing him use some kind of Dark-esque builds. You know? That's what I always think. I'm like, wow, I wish I was one of Tasteless's auto turrets. It's just like all I want to be as a caster. If I could just be his point defense drone, I would just be so happy. Little I know I'm just an infested terror. I'm like, I don't even get upgrades. Oh.
By the way, Ryung's done a pretty good job poking in here.
Yeah, I mean, we got some drones and stuff.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
2 more factories coming here, Artosis.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
That's different.
What is that for?
Those don't make Marines.
Well,
yeah, let's see.
Some mech play. I'm pretty excited about that. But this is a very fast Spire, so definitely that could kind of force an awkward situation. All these tech units.
Let's also see if Zerg is actually equipped for this. I think a lot of times when you're against players like Ryung, you don't expect some more unorthodox play. Thanks for saving my bacon.
7 mutas coming in. The armory is up, so we could see like Hellbats try to come in or whatever, but with 7 mutas coming out, I don't think that DRGLing is going to be too afraid of anything. I'm excited to see how he wants to play against Mech, though. And
2 Thors.
Yeah, very much on top of what's going on. The Thor's going to block those mutas very well.
Yeah, he's not stuck in his own build here. He's responding and reacting pretty well. I think his Thors are not that mobile either.
No, certainly.
You know what I mean? It's not.
They're pretty clunky.
Yeah, so it's, you can have them. They might not want to engage them, but that doesn't mean that your base is safe.
Well, they're going to fly around you for sure. Like the Thors have very long range, but not as long as your whole base.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you had like 5 of them here, you could hit everything. But
it's just spread it out perfectly.
Yeah. That's probably not a good strat either now, is it?
Yeah. Then they have the whole map and you die a few minutes later. Also, you can see Ryung's actually doing a good job drawing the mutas away on the map. He's kind of forced the mutas to chase around a lot of stray units, keeping the mutas back. So DRGLing may not be privy to what exactly is going on for a little bit.
Well, DRGLing also, it feels like the way he's chasing like random units, as you said, like a random Hellion going across the map. Either he is a cat that's seeing like a ball of string.
These are like laser pointers. This cat's just chasing it.
Either that or he's just like, well, I'll just kind of keep you in the dark a little bit. I know I can't do damage against you. You know the mutas are here. Like, when did mutas necessarily do damage? Not anymore, right? Not
really, no.
Not in Legacy of the Void. Maybe in Heart of the Swarm we saw that some, but like, people are too good at this nowadays. So maybe this is just his, hey, stay honest mutas, and he just wants to macro behind it.
Well, that seems to be the direction he's taking this. He's at the 4th base over here, which, by the way, Ryung has scouted. He's fully aware of. Ling's come in there to just clean that up.
Let's go on Bane speed.
So does Terran want to wait a long time before they push out with this? I feel like all mech questions should be directed at Artosis.
Yeah. Well, you know, I wish I could see more mech versus.
Yeah. We don't get to cast this very often, guys. If you don't watch a lot of StarCraft 2, this is not.
It's not common right now.
It's not par for the course. So.
Yeah.
I guess we'll all be learning a little bit more about this style of play here.
But yeah, he definitely needs way more supply than what he has right at this moment. But the unit comp he's going up against is really kind of funny. It's like he is rushing up to Hive and he keeps making mutas and is getting Baneling speed. So this is almost like reminding me of like some Nesty-esque type of moves. You remember when there was like mass Thors walking out and Nesty killed them all with Banelings?
Oh yeah,
what a great
that
moment
was pretty hilarious.
That was one of the greatest moments in all StarCraft. It's like the worst unit he could ever make against it.
I took the whole map while you're doing that. That's the problem when you do mech is that like, okay, so if your opponent's going mech, you get to play single player for a while. You're like, oh, I'm going to take this and this and this, change the wallpaper over here
into creep.
Yeah, could creep the wallpaper over here. I mean, you could do these little Hellion harasses, but it's not as. It doesn't have to be treated with the same degree of fear. Well, that's not much of a thing.
No, not much of a thing at all.
I'm not. Okay. Well, that happened. He just ran some Banelings in there, and some of them got shot down, and then they bruised the depots. But, yeah, normally when you mech, and that's one of the hard parts for the mech players when you push out. I mean, they've had so much time to set up because you're essentially not putting pressure on them at all.
Yeah.
You're also not stopping creep really at all. Once you get rid of the Hellions.
If you know that you're playing against mech early enough, whether you're Protoss or Zerg, you can get anything you want. Whatever you want, you can get, and it's up to the mech player to kind of try to counter that. And the fact that DRGLing has really actually chosen Ling Bane with some mutas is very interesting indeed, because if the Siege Tanks prevent Banes from getting on top of the Hellbats, then the Lings will just die and the mutas will not beat the Thors, right? So it's like, it seems like this is a very hard one to engage with, but he's running around, kind of.
Well, a lot of times against mech, no matter what race you are, you want to go for counterattacks. You want to keep them on the 3 bases and trying to push out for as long as possible. Looks like we have the mutas now revealing themselves here. The creep is actually pretty well pushed out, too. Now, for the amount of gas that Zerg has banked up, which is about 1.2k, he could start to make ultras.
Yeah.
And a lot of them.
Yeah, and the Ultras will do reasonably well against a lot of this. Like, still, the damage output of mech is pretty high, so Ultra armor isn't as good as it is against other things. Still getting a lot of upgrades. Look at this. He's actually kind of closed in these Mutt-Mutts. Oh, my God.
These Mutt-Mutts are in the zoo now.
Oh,
they're not going home anytime soon. They were meant to roam freely. Not with zookeeper Ryung.
No, this is pretty rough.
Not a humanitarian zoo. He's not interested in keeping that species around.
Certainly
He's not.
The thing is, there's no actual cage there. It's just like, well, if you leave this area, we're going to kill you.
We have shock collars on the Mutt-Mutts.
Yeah, so you better be the smartest birds there's ever been. Oh, look, they get out.
Oh, my God, they got out. Okay, they're free. Run.
Wow, he's a terrible
go back
zookeeper.
Into nature. Yeah.
A terrible zookeeper.
This is a happy ending. Yeah, this is a good ending.
A swarm host on the way.
So Ryung comes down and hunts them all.
Ultra's coming in. He is on the hunt, Tasteless, going to recover those lost Mutt-Mutts.
Yeah.
Look at this, 56 Banes on the way. This is like a really weird thing that I'm watching from DRGLing, and the fact that he has one swarm host, I'm like, huh, what is that in there for?
Well, you know, it is so weird that we're casting this. We just don't get to cast games like this.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is a bit speculative here. Terran seems to be far out enough that you got to commit at this point in time. Oh, there's one Liberator. That's
going to roll around. Like, it's just, if the tanks are sieged, I'm so afraid of these Banes. Like,
okay, he's just tearing through here.
Oh my God, that's actually some great blinding clouds. Yeah, the Baneling's starting to really connect, but he does lose absolutely everything.
So, yes, Zerg loses a lot there. The question is, how quickly can Zerg remake this? Actually, now I'm really worried for DRGLing. And those units that he lost, those Banelings and everything else like that, that's a lot of gas.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gas.
Well, when you're fighting against, like, +3 attack sieged tanks and you're trying to get it with Banelings, that's tough. I mean, I don't know. This is just, I haven't seen anyone try to fight against mech with like this as their style.
You know, this may be one of the reasons why Ryung picked this. Is this is just not what DRGLing practiced, and that's a good way to set up for a tournament. Is when you get to dictate all the rules because you're deciding. you know, how they have to react. That's super frustrating. By the way, for an inexperienced player like DRGLing, that's intimidating. That's stressful. You know, this is his first time in Code S.
Certainly.
It's so important to him. You know, he wants to put in the hours, he wants to practice, but if you can't deliver the results, because this is just not, it's like you show up for class and you're getting a test for a different subject. You know?
It's very true. Like, playing against Mech is far different.
It's like a
than
different
playing against
matchup.
Bio. Yeah, it truly is like a different matchup. Well, these Lings, I don't know. I mean, they've got great upgrades.
Yeah. Generally, you don't want to hit any army with Lings if they can't get a surround.
Yeah.
I almost feel like right now DRGLing is just at a total loss, and this is a big psychological blow for him. Yeah,
and like, Ryung has been on 4 base for basically 4 base for a long time. DRGLing technically took a 5th, but never had more than 7 or 8 drones there. And now we have like speed banshees coming into play.
Yeah,
he has good anti-air.
And this is a moment where the mech army, you know, the game can become much more technical because he's reaped the benefits of playing the mech game. Zerg's trying to get this like 5th base up and running, but yeah, now he can switch into air, back to ground, air to ground. It's almost like he can play like he's Zerg. Switching techs constantly.
Yeah, that's true. He can really mix in a lot of different stuff. Actually, it's not as many Vikings as I thought he had. So he's actually only going up to like 6 Vikings right now. I think he has 4 Thors. The thing is, I don't think that this will actually be enough Broodlords to chop through that quick enough.
Uh-oh. Could get some more kills here on these workers. All right, does clean that up. We also have a spread of Broodlords throughout the map. That's a Tasteosis Broodlords right there. Shooting crap out of their mouth until this game is done.
Well, at least the things coming out of our mouths don't become little broodlings to attack the fans in the audience.
No, we shoot little G's out of our mouths.
You shoot big G's, I shoot little G's.
Yeah. I think that Zerg's just going to try to poke up here, possibly into the gold base. But with these mass banshees coming around here, this is a non-mobile army here. All those corruptors turn into broodlords, so there's not actually much anti-air here.
Yeah.
So he can actually, he might go for the workers, or he could even try to get the hatches.
He's actually, Cloaked Banshees have been split into both the new bases, so that's a little bit rough. But look at this, he's got some spells to cast here. He's throwing down a lot of damage here with the Broodlords. Baneling's going to start to come in.
Is this going to work? There's enough queens here. It looks like the transfusions finally paid off.
The thing is, he's losing 2 bases during all this. Even if he kills this army, the Banshees have really done a lot.
The problem is it's slow moving, but you know, when you have the queens there, this army has a lot more sustainability. You know, the transfuses can basically keep them going for a while.
Has he done enough here to actually, because he has 3 queens and a decent amount of corruptors, so like these Vikings that are being made, he can hold off for a little bit?
Well, he's also not that far from pushing into the Terran's main. I feel like, though, Terran has enough resources, even though he's down on bases, where he can make the necessary tools to come in. Zerg's made a lot more Lings to try to come in here and maybe do a few more finishing plays. I guess if Terran loses that base that's furthest out here, well, the one that's under attack just to the right of this screenshot, there it is. If that goes down, then this is super problematic because Terran's basically mined out everywhere else. There is the base that's also in the center upper left, but that should be easier for Zerg to hit. I think that he just barely recuperates, and then Zerg's mined out.
The Broodlords are all gone now, and Ryung does have that gold base as well, so he's not like super hurting for econ. Yeah, I mean, the army right now is like 9 Zerglings and 10 Corruptors. So
this is a funny game.
Corruptors can kill all the Terran buildings.
We actually haven't cast a game like this in a while, guys. I feel like I've warped into a different time period of StarCraft 2. We've actually had, you know, the map with, you know, 5 base versus 5 base at points in time, but they both traded so heavily with such technical units that were sort of in like a, what do you want to call this? Super scrappy game, if you will. They can't really produce out of all their buildings. Everything counts. The worker count isn't that high, really, for either side, nor are the number of minerals, especially for Zerg, that he can mine from. I do think in the long run this just favors Terran. Terran's mining from a gold base and Zerg is not. And the Banshee play that Ryung did, as cool as the push from DRGLing was and how much damage it did, the Banshee play basically went uncontested, did its job, and was then taken out.
If the Banshee play hadn't happened from Ryung, well, if it hadn't, he would have had more army to fight off the main attack with, but like, let's just take the 6 Banshees off the map. They never came, or they sat with the main army. DRGLing, I think, would have won this game from that point. Like, he did good enough wiping the army, and then he would have had 2 like really well mining bases to reinforce with. Instead, he's just like barely scraping by, making some units at the moment.
Wow. That Ling almost thought he made it, too.
Yeah.
Two Wallens come up, and then one isn't there, and he's like, I made it!
Reminds me of that Game of Thrones episode. He didn't zig.
Yeah. By the way, I actually think DRGLing knows he's dead.
Yeah.
This is where you're like still playing because you were
pretty much.
Yeah,
he's got infestors, so he's like still trying.
You're like,
something.
This is not good, but I have something going on. I'm playing for my tournament life. I might as well give it a shot. Maybe I can pull something off.
Fungal plus parasitic could make something insane happen, I guess. I actually really do like that he's getting Neural. Now that you can cast Neural from underground, it's pretty cool.
Okay, well, this is the same thing that we saw earlier, but it's going to work. He just guns down the hatch, and he can start hitting drones as they're retreating. And look at this. He spreads the Banshees in different directions.
And by the way, with how fast Banshees are with speed compared to Corruptors, I feel like Corruptors need an upgrade, like a propeller tendril or something. Yeah, it's like tendril that waves out the front but has a propeller like an airplane, like helps them go faster to catch Banshees.
Instead, we should make it more ridiculous. They get a spoiler on the back of the Corruptor. I'm like, does that really make it go faster? I don't think that helps it at all. That's just for looks. That's just for douchebag Corruptors.
But airfins are supposed to keep you on the
ground. The
ground.
Corruptor's wearing Oakleys. I'm like, oh yeah, now I know for sure.
Hold on.
There it is, GG.
The airfin, though, isn't that... It's like they say that's like, well, you want to make sure that your car stays on the road, right? Like it doesn't go into the air, right? So like when you put that in the Corruptor, it's a ground unit.
It's just killed by Marines. Like, don't get that upgrade.
But then they can shoot ground units,
That's one of the only upgrades that makes you lose the game.
Oh my god.
So, okay, that was a very odd game, guys. That was very unexpected from Ryung. He knew how to do it, and you could see DRGLing just did not get to play the game he prepared for.
Yeah, it was also kind of weird that he went like Banes against mech.
Yeah.
Like if it's like a mobile mech without siege tanks, sure, absolutely, go for it. Be my guess. But when he did try to attack him, even with some reasonably good blinding clouds, the Banelings got seriously massacred, and it didn't quite work out. The Lings don't have a very long life expectancy against +3 blue flame Hellbats either.
I gotta say, man, that was a smart play by DRGLing, or rather by Ryung.
Yeah.
I thought DRGLing did a decent job of trying to hang on, but
yeah.
Sometimes when you're an experienced player like Ryung, you can pull out a build like that. It might seem anachronistic, it might seem gimmicky, but who cares if your opponent's not ready for it? He's not going to be able to hang on, and that's going to cost him a game. DRGLing has to win this game and the next. Otherwise, Ryung moves on to our final best of 3 in tonight's GSL Codex. In the upper right, in the blue,
DRGLing.
Never mind.
in the upper left, in the red,
TES Gaming, Ryung.
Okay.
So, if we can look at the mini map here for a second, I just want to point out it looks like there's a fence around the entire bottom of the map.
In fact,
Like
I think that is a fence.
This is the only map that's a gated community out of all the games.
Yeah, I mean, don't want Liberators sitting back there or something.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Another safe opening. Crazy map, gold bases, who knows? Anything could happen.
I don't know if Ryung will do the mech play again, because I feel like that's a build that the more times you do it against the same player, the more they adjust to it.
The mech play? Like,
do you think he'll do it again?
he could do it here just because the map is so small, but no, I don't think he'll do it here.
Yeah.
Like, I think that one game was fine for it, because truthfully playing Bio on Overgrowth is kind of hard, taking that fourth base out. Because I was wondering, I'm like, why did Ryung choose this as his first map? It's just like, if Zerg gets into their macro, you can't really attack 4 bases, and that's like, that's what Bio versus Zerg is putting pressure and attacking the 4th base, and like, if you can't really do that, if they get off to a decent start, then yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense that That's why he chose it, is because he had that mech ready for that map specifically.
I think what you said is pretty smart. The fact that he gets that 4th base, but the other player's meching, it kind of negates the whole function of the 4th base, right?
Yeah.
We don't really worry about that because Terran's not going to be attacking right away anyways.
Yeah.
Terran's going to take their 4th base a little bit closer, mass up, and then just start pushing. And it's actually the 5th base that comes under fire from the meching Terran instead of the 4th. And the 2 potential 5th bases for Zerg on that map are closer pushing distance, which also negates the fundamental problem with mech, which is that they're not that nimble, they're not that fast, so it's a pretty quick travel distance. He just knocked himself. He just knocked himself back.
Oh my God! Well, that's embarrassing when Byun is in your group, right?
That's like a Cirque du Soleil Reaper or something. He's just trying to show what his body is capable of.
That's like you're basically like you're an aspiring basketball player with Michael Jordan like in the same group as you, and you try to dribble it and it bounces off your foot.
Yeah.
Like, I swear I'm better than that.
Yeah. I know how to dribble the ball.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Good catch.
Yep. Denied the plant. Bad start here for DRGLing. It's going to be a lot harder to actually get a 3rd base now.
Yeah, it's very annoying.
Oh my God, this is bad. Does he get it? Oh!
Oh.
That's what that Overlord sounded like too. He was like, oh, okay, I'm alive.
This guy meant to do that.
I'm going to get a tattoo about this experience.
His middle tendril is up in the air right now against those Marines. Are those really tendrils or are those tassels? That's the real question.
That's right.
Are those tassels hanging off the Overlord? Is that how you got your name?
That's how I got my name.
Because I know that you played random at first, so maybe you were like, look at the beautiful tassels on these flying blimp things.
If you guys don't know this backstory, Artosis told me a long time ago that whenever he read my name on Battle.net and Brood War, he never really thought of it. He knew it was the word Tasus, but he just read it in his head as tassels.
Yeah, it's just who you are in my head, is tassels.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like cuter than tasteless. Tasteless, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a cool idea. You try pretty hard, but like,
yeah.
Tassels is like so bad and dumb.
It's like you name yourself. What a weird noun.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
It's not cool at all. Okay, big Hellbat tiny push coming up here. 5 Hellbats walking up this ramp. The Spore to help push
the
back.
The positioning here is really hard for the Lynx if they're going to try to get any engage. He's actually still got a good spread here too. Look at Ryung. He's like still coming in here, like healing a little bit, then backing out, not taking too much damage from that Spore. Dude, Ryung is so good.
Yeah, very well done. Ling's still trying to come out here. That micro on the medevac
that was
keep
so
it alive.
sick.
Yeah.
He actually just took damage, backed up. He's like, okay, I've done at least enough that I won the fight. Oh, DRGLing, this is a sad ending here.
No, it really is.
Well, I feel for him, man, but I mean, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say the end of the game, but this is like a very bad start, and this is actually pretty hard to recover from. Considering how much you actually lost back there, the medevac is actually still in the game.
Yeah, it's, one of our potential Royal Roaders having another very hard time right now. He's absolutely not going to be getting out of this group, it's looking like.
I don't think it's a possibility, man.
Yeah. By the way,
yes.
Mech attack and cloak. He might be going mech again here, Tasteless.
Wow.
In fact, he is.
Artosis is pleased.
Well, I would be, but I think DRGling's already in a really bad spot, so I'm like, oh, God, come on.
Well, alternative styles of play are just, one way to go against somebody where you feel like you have different skill sets, but you know that every time you win a game, that's in the data bank for all pro gamers to try to copy, especially your opponents.
Yeah.
This might be some style he's experimented with. He's pulled a fast one on several other pro gamers. And
he's always been a very good player with mech units just overall. Definitely have seen him go mech against Terran and stuff in the past.
Yeah, very true. Oh,
he's no Gumiho, but definitely have appreciated his play here so far.
5 more drones bite the dust. Scans up here, decides it's not safe to try to come in, loops back around, and he's actually, oh wow.
Hellions went up that ramp, but Hellbats will come down.
He's coming in again. There's just not enough proper defense here. In fact, he's kind of getting in the way of the proper evacuation point here for the drones, which means they're going to have to loop around. They probably won't be killed. Oh, maybe they will with these Hellions coming in. Look at this. He can come in here. Oh, no, he turns into Hellbats.
He should have just done a shot.
Yeah, he should have just shot them immediately. Okay, I don't think it matters.
No, not really.
Some nerds just want to see the world burn.
Well, certainly this one
this is... You're just coming in.
Lots of Hellbats. He doesn't even have like a Baneling to hold on against.
Yeah, this is... And then he comes in there with the Banshees. That's it. GG. Ryung playing completely completely different and completely unorthodox approach. Rex, DRGLing. I will say, though, I want to see more of DRGLing in the future. This was a really good learning experience.
Yeah.
The veteran Ryung picked something that I don't think DRGLing has really seen before. Maybe he's encountered on the ladder. He thinks that guy's bad. You're not supposed to do that. But the thing about StarCraft is you don't have to do the most proper play. You don't have to go for macro. You don't really have to cheese. You don't have to go for the.
You don't have to win. You don't have to lose.
Well, no, you do have to win. You do have to win. Anyways, Ryung did it. He wins. He's going to be in our last match, which will be Byung versus Ryung, and we will be going to that after this short break.